The gravitational force or law of attraction. In order to describe organizational structure in terms of our solar system, a workable knowledge of the basic laws of physics is required. So let's look at the universal law of gravitation. Some of you would have studied this at school, and I got this from one of my school textbooks. Brink and Jones, those who know, and this gravitational law is explained quite well in that textbook, and I found because it's accessible to children, I want to make these principles as simple as possible. We don't want to overcomplicate things, but Newton's law of universal law of gravitation, along with the concept of gravity, mass, and elliptical orbits, help our study of orbital thinking. So his law states the following, and just bear with me. Every body attracts every other body in the universe. That's a great first phrase. And whether you like it or not, there's an attraction. It's just true. So let me finish the statement. Every body attracts every other body in the universe with a force that is directly proportional to the product of the masses of the two bodies, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between their centers. So it's got to do with your weightiness, your gravity, and the distance between you. And those two factors determine the gravitation between, the attraction between two bodies in the universe. So let's look at the keywords. A body, or attracts, or universe, or masses, or distance. Those are the keywords there. And they can be read scientifically, but are also common words applied to everyday life. So what is your gravity in an area of expertise? Somebody else with some gravity and mass and experience in that area comes into your orbit, there's an attraction. You're going to learn something from them, they're going to learn something from you. You could do a gravitational slingshot in thinking. You could meet every now and then and give each other momentum, or you could clash, which happens sometimes. But out of that, something new emerges. So there's always a benefit in the universal law of attraction. And sometimes in love, or in an abstract sense, you know, when you look at love, how love works is a mystery to most. But you might love similar things, or you might love something about them, or something appeals to you. So love is quite an interesting concept there. That's also gravitational. Abstractly, a merger between two companies with similar business interests or target markets. Or they might complement each other. They might have different levels of expertise or resources that can help one another. So there's gravitational pull in various aspects of life. Sometimes opposites attract. In the case of electromagnetism, where you need a positive and a negative to get a flow of charge resulting from potential difference. So there, it's not all wrong to be opposite to somebody. It might create a potential difference between you that could cause a flow of information, flow of energy, flow of interaction, a complementing of one another's gifts. So opposites attract is also true. When it comes to celestial bodies, the gravitational force that keeps them in place is amazing. And we're going to look at that, how things stay in place. But let's explore the wonders of our solar system for a second, okay? Our planet is so placed that we orbit around the sun in 365 days, 6 hours, at an average distance of about 150 kilometers, 150 million kilometers, and that changes at the aphelion and perihelion. I'd like to discuss that with you in person because I use this for time management in executive coaching. There's a time where the Earth is actually closer to the sun at perihelion, where it is actually traveling faster around the sun and a little bit closer. And then aphelion, where it's a bit further from the sun and it's actually slowing down a little bit. And in our lives, in our week, in our day, in our months, in our year, we've seen those sort of cycles where we're at perihelion, things are going fast. You don't have time for anything, but you're going fast. And there's times where things slow down, and you should prioritize your tasks and things accordingly. And I could draw that map for you. We have a few worksheets we can share with you in coaching. If you book me for a session, we can actually talk those things through. But that's a very interesting concept, that we're orbiting around the sun. We're thankful for this fact that we're so far from the sun. We're just the right distance from the sun. It's actually a miracle that Earth exists. And we're too far away. We go into an ice age. Too close and we'd be incinerated. And we have no, atmosphere like some of the closer planets. So yeah, thank goodness for that. The frequency of the Earth's orbit can be compared to regular reporting and accountability in any organization that maintains seasonal consistency. Even in the early church, we see the apostles Paul and Barnabas coming back to where they were sent from, and they were reporting to the elders and apostles about God's glorious work of salvation through them for those who believed. Later, the epistles written between churches and leaders would include administrative sections and conclusions to the didactic or teaching sections, the doctrinal and sections, and then the practical sections. All Paul's epistles had a little bit of that accountability built into them, and it was seasonal. He would write to them again and hope to see them again, and he would circle back, he would orbit back. So back to the Earth, we viewed from above, we rotated in an anti-clockwise direction, allowing us to calculate that an Earth day is about 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4.1 seconds. We experience seasons because while we are orbiting the sun, we are tilted at 23.5 degrees, allowing the sun's rays to reach the Earth at a different angle, thus affecting the northern and southern hemispheres accordingly. The fact that most of our planets in our system orbit around the same plane, they're in a disk-like fashion. They're orbiting around the sun in the center, and they're orbiting around on a disk-like plane. And we can show you pictures of that. It suggests that the original solar nebula or explosion was rotating, and it alludes to the origin and formation of our present solar system. If a collapsing dust and gas cloud is rotating, then centrifugal force will stop some of the gas and dust from falling into the center and becoming part of the new star. If we weren't rotating, all the dust and debris would have formed into a new large star. But because we were rotating, some of the forces were outwards, and that's how the planets then formed. What makes a planet? Our solar system comprises the sun, and then we've got the 8 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. 3 dwarf planets include Pluto, Eris, and Ceres, and there's some new dwarf planets that they're discovering now. 63 satellites or moons in our solar system, and regions of dust and debris, asteroids and comets called the Oort cloud, the Kuiper belt, and the nearest asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, where we get all our meteoroids from and some comets. The International Astronomical Union has stipulated 3 requirements for planets, and I want you to take note of this. I'm throwing a lot of facts at you, and you can check it in your books. You can just highlight it there. I'm not requiring you to understand or remember all the facts that we give you about the Earth. I just want you to get some sort of analogy of how things can work for you. It's nice to know some of these facts. It's good to have them handy when you explain these things to your staff or your family or so on, but use the book as a reference for that. Don't worry about trying to retain everything. Just get the understanding. So for understanding on planets, 3 requirements are needed for something to be a planet. They need to, number 1, orbit the sun. Number 2, they need to have enough gravity to pull themselves into a ball. I'll explain this as we go further. Number 3, they have to clear out all other objects from their orbit. So there can't be other moons the size of that planet. They must clear them out, absorb them, or pull them into a gravitational orbit around them, like the Earth has done with the moon. And now you can also see how you can start applying this to yourself. What you must, to be an entity that sustains life, that promotes life, that is solid, you need to also have a central thing that you orbit around in your life. For us, we orbit around Christ and his principles for our lives as Christians. Jesus is the center of what I'm trying to do in my ministry. For others, it will be a cause that they're fighting for, something that makes them get up in the morning. It's the most powerful force in your life. It's the reason you do things. It's the thing that makes you pound the table at night and go, how can I change this? Those sort of powerful causes are powerful forces in your life, and they affect your decision making. They dictate your relationships, the type of relationships you're going to have, because if people don't agree with your cause and so on, it's going to affect your relationship whether you like it or not. I'll show you how to relate to people that have different forces in their lives. There's a way to do that. There's a way to accommodate and love people that don't see things the way you do. But that takes skill. That takes understanding of your own gravitational forces, that you realize you're strong enough within yourself to still hear other people out and still love them. Don't have to agree with them. So that means that your galaxy is settled. And we'll show you how to do that. So orbit the sun, have enough gravity to pull himself into a ball, and clear out all objects and debris in their path. Now when you look at that, you can immediately have a thought experiment about that already. You're thinking already about debris in your life that's preventing you from having a stable orbit around your central core force. Okay. So you can maybe write a couple of those things down. What's preventing you from being a planet that sustains life, that grows, that is stable? What do you orbit? And what gravity do you have in your life that has pulled you together to where you are now? What's your core force? And you can look at values. We can go through a list of values. Often in executive coaching, I go through a list of values and say, what do you value most? And people are not always honest about that. They kind of download a list of values from the internet and pick 5. But I'll give you an example of how surprising a conversation like this can be. One of the values that I have is speed. I enjoy speed. I just like it. Always liked it. And it's not quite need for speed like, the car version of it, but I used to run, sprint, do hurdles and things like that. I played wing in rugby. But I also I value speed. When I'm busy in a relationship and someone reacts quickly, I kind of like that. It's not always the best thing, but I like it. And I've had to learn to do things slowly, to run marathons too. So there's value in doing things slowly, methodically. I had to learn that, But it excites me when I can respond quickly and solve a problem quickly. It's exciting for me. And that's just being honest with myself. So if someone knows that about me, that they can depend on me to do things quickly, it builds our relationship on another level. And then they realize then that my orbit is fast. And I've had to learn that not everybody runs as fast as I do. But that's good, because then you know that about yourself and you can adjust when you deal with other people and be patient with them. So, knowing yourself is a good thing. And being honest about what you value. I value honesty and loyalty very highly. Because I've been in the ministry, worked with a lot of people, seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of ministry, even business as well. I've seen how people behave. I've got a lot of people knowledge. So I'm aware of what people are capable of. So when someone is loyal, it's rare. So I value loyalty above someone's ability. I can rather train them in their abilities and upskill them if they have loyalty, than have somebody that's very skilled and very gifted but has no fruit in their lives. Jesus said that you'll know them by their fruit. So fruit is a big thing for me. And I value that very highly. The people who work with me will know that. And I've got long-term relationships based on that. Some of the ministry friends we have is 20, 30 years long. by God's grace, And they've also put up with me and seen my fruit and my mistakes, and they've also helped me work through my issues. So if you can find relationships like that, that's a long-term orbit. That's a galaxy forming right there. And that's something you need to write down and think about. So I've written down some concepts of the Big Bang Theory, and the big thing is that, that's what scientists say happened in the creation. But there's a lot of debris in your life, and because of the weight or the gravity of the debris, they collapse on their own gravity and form something. So don't mind if there's chaos in your life. There's going to be dust and debris. There's a gravitational trigger going to happen where things are going to form into a planet that becomes sustainable, that has an orbit, that repeats, that cycles, that grows. And I can help you with that. I can help you map out your galaxy a little bit. We can talk about the things that you do regularly, the things that you're aiming for, and show you how orbital thinking can help you with that. So read a little bit further, but do that thought experiment. I think it's there. What do I orbit as the center of my life? Family and business, gravity. Do I have substance within myself for being what I believe to be? Go through all those things there. Be honest. What makes me who I am, and what God-given character traits are recognized by my family and my peers, your values? What gravity do I have in decision-making? What projects have I completed? What makes me angry? What makes me pound the table? There's a couple of things there. Read through all of them and write them down. Share them with me if you want to. I'd love to hear what you write. And that's the end of our lesson for today. God bless you. We will carry on in the next one with centripetal force.